we doing, Alec and Emily? We still good? Still not on a date? Perfect. You look like you're loving life, as you should be. Okay, guys, we're just going to keep going with it because we're having a good time, so please start the plastic. Here we go, here we go. Please welcome to the stage, Darran
Lee! Good evening. So, yesterday, tough day, early yesterday, had to go to the funeral of a close friend. Unfortunately, halfway through the service, I just burst out laughing. Turns out I'm not a mourning person. I guess this can be explained by when I was younger, I used to obsess over these 2 instant cameras. My parents took me to a psychologist and I was diagnosed as bipolaroid. Last week I had a severe overdose on Ritalin. It left me suffering from constant attention disorder. The side effects were so bad I sat there just looking at the washing machine for 6 hours, waiting for them to find Nemo. I now have to take so much medication that when I line them up next to each other I can actually spell drug addict in Morse code. When I first got these tablets I was told they may make you put on a bit of weight. 14 kilos later, I rang the doctor and said, how many calories are in these fucking things? The worst thing about it, putting on 14 kilos, is not 1 ounce has gone on my penis. I mean, how can that happen? There's just no justice in the world. But I am lucky I've got a very supportive wife, and she says nice things like, you're not fat, I can still see your ribs. I'm like, you can only see my ribs if you're a radiologist. And people say to me, you know, why do you wear a sweatshirt in summer? To be honest, it's actually for your protection. Because the shirt underneath is so tight that if I try and push out a fart, someone's going to lose an eye. Probably get an exit wound like Kurt Cobain or something. So, due to these tablets, I now have to go and get a wardrobe for my beach body. And last week I went into a designer shop and the assistant came over to me and said, would you like to buy some of these new distressed jeans? I was like, no thanks, I was born with millions of them. I went to Kathmandu and got myself a nice new puffer jacket. On the way home I stopped outside a building site and got mistaken for an insulated water tank. Last week I was travelling for work and went to the airport and I hadn't medicated and I got really confused by the signs and tried to check in at the counter called oversized and fragile. You see, having bipolar and travelling for work is actually, you know, it has some issues. Like when you're ringing the hotel reception and begging them to refill the minibar 20 minutes after you've checked in. You're lonely and you spend so much time on dating sites that you swipe so much that you've needed 2 skin grafts already and now can't access your iPhone. And the worst is at 3 AM when the insomnia kicks in, is the fact that you're flicking through infomercials trying to find one to masturbate to. Good news is, it's always the one with the 70-year-old woman selling leak-proof panties. Hey, it works for me. I don't think it works for R. Kelly, but it works for me. So, I've had some bad luck with jobs as well. I applied to be a horticulturalist. Got to the interview, first question, what's your favourite vegetable? I said Stephen Hawking. I thought it was a great answer, I bet. Nobody else could name one that could talk. I was also worked at the stables, but then they investigated the molestation of a pony. They blamed me because apparently the day it happened, I was off work sick, feeling a little hoarse. I got into trouble with the police. They said I'd been harassing puppies online. Turns out I misunderstood the role of a dog groomer. And then I've had some serious issues in my love life as well, surprisingly, you say. When I was younger, the only ever way I got to see a vagina was when I went to the department store and they were changing the mannequins.
Oh, God.
Which left me with an image that all vaginas were that silky and smooth until I got my first girlfriend into bed. And I went down and took her knickers off and her bush exploded like an airbag. It left me looking like I'd exfoliated with an electric sander. So, after that experience, I tried some extreme felching.
Oh.
Got on an aeroplane and sat down on the toilet and flushed. It sucked out half of my intestine. My friends now call me semicolon. So then I advertised for a blind date. That didn't work out too well. I couldn't get in any restaurants with a dog. A couple of friends said to me, if you take a woman out for a meal and you can't get her in the mood, you should try chloroform. I did, and I fell asleep halfway through the meal. And then last of all, I went out with a failed terrorist. She tried to hold up a Lush cosmetic store. Apparently her suicide belt was full of bath bombs. Thank you very much indeed.